Alright, let's look at the kinds of parallelograms in terms of diagonals. Right? So remember that if you have a parallelogram, their diagonals, so diagonals bisect each other. Bisect each other. Right? Then number one, parallelogram is a rhombus if diagonals are, so they bisect each other to begin with because it's a parallelogram, and if they are perpendicular. Right? So if you draw a picture, you have so here's the diagonal, one of the diagonal, and here's the second diagonal, so we know that it bisect each other. On top of that, for this one, it's perpendicular, right? Then you can see that this will form a rhombus, right? Remember that the rhombus, it's a parallelogram where adjacent sides are congruent. You can see that this triangle is congruent to that triangle, right? So therefore we have a congruence here and there, and it's actually all four sides are congruent, right? So that's why you have a rhombus there, right? And the second, parallelogram is a rectangle if diagonals are congruent to each other. Right? So if you have a diagonal that are the same length, so you can see that it's going to be something like this. So here's the one diagonal, and here's another diagonal. Make sure that they bisect each other, and also they are the same length, right? So we know that this is the same length as that guy, right? Then this will form a rectangle. So you can see that it's going to go here like that, it's going to go here like that, here and here, right? That's going to form a rectangle. All right, and the third one, a parallelogram, I'll check that. Parallelogram is a square if diagonals are, all right, it's actually perpendicular and a congruent. So it's a perpendicular and congruent. Right, so it's a combination of number one and a number two. You can see that if diagonals are perpendicular, so say they're perpendicular to each other and they are the same length, right? So it's perpendicular there and it's the same length, and you can see that this will form a square, right? And you can prove that those are right angles. These are right angles, right? And the same here, right? So that's the kinds of parallelograms in terms of diagonals. So if diagonals are perpendicular, then we'll have a rhombus. If diagonals are congruent, then we'll have a rectangle, and a combination of both will have a square. All right, that's it. I hope that this was clear.